Hi everyone, I am Saman and I'm going to talk about my research, which is assessing the operator cognitive workload in AR/VR enhanced work environment. Well, cognitive workload can be defined as the relationship between the task demands and mental resources required to complete or fulfill those demands. In industrial settings, evaluating the cognitive workload of operators is important as elevated workload is shown to be or it can negatively affect the performance and it can increases the risk of errors and accidents. So why assessing workload in AR/VR environment is important. AR and VR has recently emerged into the industrial settings to provide the visual feedback, real-time task guidance, and immersive training to the operator. However, the effect of these technologies on the workload of the operators is still limited. On the one hand, providing a step-by-step task guidance and training operators in safe and risk-free environments can reduce their workload. On the other hand, integrating the virtual objects into the field of view of the operators can contribute in increasing the workload. So how to assess the cognitive workload? Generally, there are two main categories of techniques to evaluate the workload. Subjective methods are based on the self-reported ratings of the workload, of the perceived workload. One famous methods is NASA TLX. On the other hand, objective methods rely on physiological data collected from the human body. Some examples are EEG, eye tracking, and heart rate. So because I have used EEG data analysis in some of my studies, I want to give a brief description of the relation between the EEG and cognitive workload. EEG is a common non-invasive method for measuring cognitive workload. It collects brain signals from the electrodes attached to the surface of the skull. EEG signals contains neural oscillations at different frequency bands, and the activity in these frequency bands are related to different aspects of the workload. Among all the frequency bands, three of them has been widely used in workload studies. Increasing the activity in the theta band is a reliable indicator of increasing workload. Band activity is more related to the resting states, and the activity in these bands usually reduces when the task demand increases. Also, the beta band activity will increase in the tasks that require higher attentional demands. Here I have listed some of my past and ongoing studies. So in the first study, you evaluated the cognitive workload of novice forklift truck drivers in a VR-based training. The aim of this study was to evaluate how variation in the task difficulty levels and repeated trainings impact the cognitive workload of novice drivers in a VR. So a total number of 20 college students, including 14 males and 6 females, participated in our study. We asked the participants to perform three training lessons of forklift driving in the VR. We had three different task difficulty levels. In the low task difficulty levels, the task was simply driving the forklift along a path in the VR. In the medium task difficulty levels, they were required to complete more advanced and complex tasks. For example, picking and dropping the pallets or reverse driving. In the high task difficulty levels, They were required to pick up some boxes from different location without having accident with the shelves. Also, we asked our participants to come back within a week after the first study and perform the same training lessons in the VR, so we can evaluate the effect of repeated training on their workload. So we collected NASA TLX data from participants after each trial, and also we collected the EEG activity during each trial using an EEG headset. Here are the key findings for this study. Subjective measure or NASA TLX was able to differentiate cognitive workload between different levels of task difficulty. Among all the EEG measures, theta activity was the only variable that could effectively distinguish between all of the levels of the task difficulty. This probably shows that theta activity in the frontal area of the brain is a reliable indicator of the workload. Also, an additional training session did not significantly change cognitive workload measured by the EEG activity. This potentially shows that the participants, the repeated training, one additional training session was not enough for the participants to develop their strategies to do the task easier with less cognitive workload. So in another study, we explored the cognitive workload changes in teleoperators in a collaboration scenario when they needed to work with an on-site participants and also operate a robot arm in the same time to complete a shared assembly task. The first aim of this study was to evaluate the variation of cognitive workload for the teleoperators between two conditions. One, their workload in the human-human teams working, and another with the human-robot-human teams. The second aim of this study was to examine the indirect effect of increasing the task demands for the on-site participant on the teleoperator. So here we manipulated the task demands of the on-site participant to see if it has any effect of the teleoperator workload. So in this study, we had 32 participants, including 16 males and 16 females. And we randomly assigned our participants to the teleoperator or on-site participant roles. The task was inserting some pins into the holes of an assembly wall and attach a wire to them to complete a predefined pattern. And also to simulate the remote collaboration, we physically separated the on-site area from the teleoperator area. However, the teleoperator could see the on-site area using the view of 5 cameras placed in a different location in the on-site environment. So we designed two collaboration condition. In the human-human condition, the teleoperator could provide guidance to the on-site participant, and the on-site participant was responsible to complete all steps of the assembly task. In the human-robot-human condition or HRH condition, again the teleoperator could communicate with the on-site participant to perform the task. However, this time the teleoperator could provide physical assistance to the on-site participants by operating the robot. And we defined two task difficulty levels for the on-site participant. In the low demand condition, the on-site participant was only responsible to complete the wire and pin assembly task. However, in the high demand condition, in addition to this primary task, the on-site participant was responsible to complete the secondary task, which was memorization of a letter sequence. So again, we collected the NASA TLX data from the participants and also EEG activity during the task. So here are the results for this study. Among all the measures, only theta band activity was able to discriminate between the two collaboration conditions. But interestingly, we found more theta activity or more cognitive workload in the human condition compared to the human robot human condition. This might show that teleoperator might find it easier to do some aspects of the task using the robot arm compared to the condition that they were only rely on the on-site participants to complete the task. Also, increasing the task demands for the on-site participant did not significantly affected the cognitive workload of the teleoperator. Built upon this study and as part of my dissertation, I want to assess the effectiveness of AR features in reducing cognitive load during periodic human-robot collaboration. We again designed a same environment consist of a teleoperator, an on-site participant, and a robot arm. And in the traditional scenario, a teleoperator will only rely on the view of the cameras which are placed in the on-site area. However, we will add an AR feedback and examine how um, uh, uh, and here we examine how adding a virtual augmentation reality features can reduce the cognitive workload of the teleoperator. And so I will show you a video of this. In this scenario, we will overlay the skeletal joint position of the on-site participants to the display of the teleoperator. So in this condition, the teleoperator can be aware of the real-time position and joint location of the on-site participant. And we hypothesize that adding this AR feature can significantly reduce the cognitive workload of the teleoperator compared to the scenario that they only require to shift their attention between multiple camera view to guide the on-site participants. Thank you for your attention. I'm done with my presentation, but I'm ready to answer your questions.